Hello viewers, welcome back to UPSC Warriors channel. So today we are going to continue our basics of economy series and we are in part 4. So I hope so far you would have watched all the 3 parts of the basic series, and if at all if you have any doubt, please drop a message in the comment section. So far we discussed about what is mean by economy, what are the different types of economy and what are the different sectors that are there, and in the previous video we started to discuss about the different types of economic systems, right? I hope you remember that. So we are going to continue it from in this video. So in the previous video we discussed about what are the different types of economic systems, in which we studied the command economy and the traditional economy. So in this video I am going to take you through the 3 different types of economic systems very quickly and in such a way that you are able to understand the key differences between them. So before we begin, let's try to understand what is meant by economic system again quickly. And what is mean by economic system? As I told you, it is nothing but a mechanism or a method in which we allocate the scarce resources that we have in the country for what? Optimum utilization of it and producing goods and services, right? So this is something which we discussed in the previous class, and in today's class I am going to tell you how this economic system is operating and how according to this we have different types of economies in place, right? Okay, so we have basically market economy, also called as free market, we have centrally planned economy or command economy, and we have mixed economy. So these 3 are the main types of economic systems in which we are going to allocate resources in different ways for optimum utilization of it and also to fulfill the needs of the society. Clear? Okay. In the previous video, I discussed about this command economy in brief, like what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of command economy. So for those who have missed it, I kindly recommend you to go and watch that video, and now we will continue from here, right? Okay. So how this economic system is going to decide how much amount of resources that has to be allocated? Again, it depends upon the country's goals, right? It depends upon the country's objective, what type of needs the country has to fulfill, and what type of the economic status the country is having. So based on all the socio-economic objectives and based on the goals, the country will decide which type of economic system it should follow. Clear? Say for example, when India got independence, we had primarily agricultural sector and we had the dominance of the private sector, that is the British East India Company before independence, right? So we chose an economic model, an economic system where we gave so much of importance to the government to control the resources in such a way that we are able to take care of the largely agricultural population or largely poor people in the country, so that the privates are not, raising their upper hands again, right? So this is how country will decide what type of economic system that has to be followed. And now we are going to start with market economy. We will come back to this slide in the later half of this session. So once we discuss all these 3 things, I'll take you to this slide and explain it with the examples. Starting with market economy. So under this market economic system, we are going to study about how this production, like what to produce and how to produce and whom to produce, is decided. Okay, so how it is going to get decided? It is going to get decided by the market itself. So this is an economic system proposed by Adam Smith, right? So under this market economic system, the 3 basic questions of what to produce, how much to produce and to whom to produce, with which the economic systems are actually getting differentiated, is going to be decided by the market forces. In other terms, the market is going to operate on its own without the intervention of the government. Clear? So what is mean by market forces? Simply nothing but demand and supply. So in this type of economic system, what to produce and how much to produce and for whom to produce. So all these economic decisions will be taken by the market forces, that is demand and supply. Okay. So how this demand and supply is going to decide what to produce, how much to produce, for whom to produce, because Basically, answering all these three things is something we call as allocating the resources, right? So, we allocate resources according to these three economic decisions. And how it is going to be done without the government intervention? Let's see it now. So, first question, what to produce. So, in any market economy, this question of what to produce is answered by, okay, the consumers who need or who want the goods and the services, right. So, they want it to be utilized for their optimum level. So, based upon what type of goods are being demanded in the country, based on what types of services are being demanded by the consumers, the firms will produce it, right. So, who are the economic agents here who are going to make the decisions? Only the firms and the consumers. So, what these firms are going to do? They are going to produce goods and services, and what these consumers are going to make? They are going to purchase those goods and services. So, what type of goods and services are being demanded, okay, by the consumers will be produced by the firms, okay. So, this is how what to produce is decided. And how do they know it, what type of goods are getting demanded? It's simply they will produce goods which are in demand in the market, okay. So, if I am a producer who wants to produce some textile products, and if another person is a producer who wants to produce some automobile products, and imagine if only these two goods are being supplied to the market, depending upon which goods have maximum demand, the producer will start producing that, okay. So, this is how the market is going to operate. So, first question is being answered in the market economy. Moving on to the next, we have how these productions are going to be made by the producers. They are going to produce goods and services at full capacity so that they are able to compete with the fellow competitors and have an edge in the market. So, here what is happening is that everyone is going to operate according to their own self-interest. So, what would be the interest of the producer? As a producer, I would like to maximize my product profits, right. So, in such a way that I will go for having a very minimum cost of producing something. So, this is how I will operate, and I am operating to fulfill my own self-interest, okay. So, you have to remember this, and here the self-interest and competition is going to be the key, okay. And here the natural market forces will allow the market to control itself. So, in the market economy, whenever something happens, okay, either if there is too much of price fluctuation or there is too much of demand and supply mismatch, the market will adjust it automatically, okay. So, there is no any external agent or the government to come and fix it, right. So, this is how this market economy is going to be differentiated from mixed economy, whereas in mixed economy, whenever there is any issue with the respect to the market, the government will come and interfere and fix this issue. And how this natural forces are able to fix it, how the market is going to adjust itself if there is any issue. So, that is something which we are going to see in the next slide, and that is something called as the invisible hand, which is going to fix the issues that are there in the market, okay. So, what is this invisible hands? So, before knowing what is mean by invisible hands, now we have to know how do they produce. We already know they wanted to produce, firms wanted to produce the products to get maximum profits. So, how they are actually going to make? They will always try to make the cost of production to the minimum level, right. So, as to have higher margins of profit, and that is something is actually going to also get affected by the competition, so which is going to keep the market in place. Now, what happens with respect to this invisible hand is that whenever there is a variation in the demand and supply, see, I am making a product to meet a particular demand X, maybe 10, okay. So, let us imagine 10 is my demand. So, if I am going to make this product, okay, I mean I am going to produce this product and supply 10, it means that the demand is matching with 10, right. So, the demand and supply is in equilibrium. Say for example, 10 apples maybe, okay, not apples, let us take, okay, 10 notebooks, right. So, if there is a demand for 10 notebooks and if I am supplying 10 notebooks, then the demand and supply are equal. So, the market is in place, market forces are fine. Now, if suddenly, maybe because of some things, okay, so considering some other factors in place, if at all, if this demand is getting decreased, maybe if the demand is 8, not 10 anymore, what I will do? So this is something which is going to indicate me what to produce, right, as a firm in the market economy. And knowing that the demand has decreased, I will reduce my supply from 10 to 8. Okay, so this is how this market economy adjusts itself. It adjusts basically with respect to the demand and supply variations. It adjusts basically with reference to the price and the quantity fluctuations. Clear? So this forces is something called as invisible force, or this is called as invisible hand, not the invisible hand which you see in the movie. Clear? So this is how market economy operates. So far it is clear that in market economy, the decisions like what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce is decided by the firms and the consumers, largely by the firms, depending upon the demand from the consumer side, and there is no government intervention in it, and the market is adjusting according to the natural forces of demand and supply itself. And whenever the market is in problem, this invisible hand is coming to save the market, right? So this is what we learned so far. So what to produce, decided by the demand of the consumers, how to produce for profit maximization, and for whom to produce, again it is going to be decided by the different categories of consumers who are able to purchase the goods and services they have. So if I have a majority of middle class population in the country, so I will target my goods at the middle class population. So this is how market economy works. But do you really think that there is no role being played by the government in the market economy? No, there is a small role being played by the government in the market economy. So what it is basically going to protect the property rights and protect the occupational rights so as to facilitate this market economic system to function. I'll give you one example. Say for example, in this protection of property rights, if government is allowing you to protect your property by means of mentioning this as your fundamental right in its constitution, then you can do whatever you want with that property, be it a physical property or be it invisible property like time, labor, or even the intellectual property, right? So it is up to you to decide how you want to use it. If it is land, it is up to me to decide if I want to set up an agriculture farm and field in that, or if I have to go with the industrial factory. Okay, so this is how the government is aiding this market economy by giving the property rights. Okay, so it is also protecting the occupational rights. So you have the right to choose the career that you want to do in that particular country. Either you can go for a farmer or you can choose to be an engineer. So this is how the government plays a role in the market economy. So I hope so far market economy is clear to all of you. So if you have any doubt, please drop a message in the comment section. Meanwhile, think what are the countries that you find to have market economic system in place. Moving on to the centrally planned economy. So this is something called as command economy, which we discussed in brief in the previous class. But today I'm going to quickly recap how this command economy is different from the market economy we saw. First thing, it was proposed by Karl Marx, and in the command economy, government is going to have the upper hand, right? So government will be in the commanding position. Commanding position for what? Again, for making economic choices, again for allocating resources, like what to produce, how much to produce, and for whom to produce. So this is something will be decided by the government, and the government will decide these factors according to the demands and the goals that it has for the country, right? So here the government is going to decide what type of goods and services have to be produced in the country, and there is no role being granted to the private players. So all the resources are owned by the government. Say for example, if there is a region here, okay, and if there are some 8 districts in the region, so what will happen is that each and every district will make productions according to the resources that are available and send it to the command authority or to the central authority, okay, from where all these goods and services are going to get distributed. So this is how command economy is functioning. So how the goods and services are produced depending upon the type of resources. So if there is large amount of agricultural land, it will do agriculture. If this is suitable for industrial base, it will have so much of industries. So this is how the centrally planned economies work, and they plan at the central level. Clear? So that plan is going to get implemented throughout the region. So this is how centrally planned economy is different from the market economy. But what are the disadvantages of these two economic systems we saw so far? See, there are productive inefficiencies and allocative inefficiencies. So try to remember these two terms. So what is mean by productive inefficiency and allocative inefficiency? See, productive inefficiencies is something which can actually lead to increase in price of the products just because the scarce resources are not utilized properly and probably wasted. Okay, so it happens when the scarce resources are wasted because of the absence of having any external authority to control it. So this is something that can be seen in the market economy, right? So how the scarce resource getting wasted can impact the increase in price? Okay, I'll give you the example of USA's health insurance industries, right? So USA healthcare is very, very costly. It is again not because of increase in demand as such, but let's take the example of health insurance, okay? So the health insurance in USA are being operated by only a few large firms. So since the competition is very less, they take very little care to optimally utilize the scarce resources, so that the cost of production is becoming very, very higher. So because of increase in cost of production, the increase in cost of ambulance service, hospital bed, everything occurs, as a result of which this healthcare altogether is witnessing a very high price. Okay, so this is something not happening because of demand, but mainly because of inefficient utilization of resources. So this is one of the issue with it. And then allocative inefficiencies. See, in the market economy, the government is not playing any role in deciding what type of basic needs it should have. Say for example, hospital services, food security, okay, and then poverty eradication. So these are something which needs to be done so as to take care of the poor population, right? But operating in these sectors like food security, poverty eradication is not going to be that profitable for the private players. So basically they avoid it. Then who will be there to deliver these services? So that will lead to allocative inefficiencies. We are not going to allocate the resources properly. So these are the issues with it, and that is why in reality no country is purely a command economy, no country is purely a market economy. So what we have largely in reality is a type of mixed economy system. Okay, so under mixed economy we are going to take the best of these two economic systems and allocate our resources. So it was something which was proposed by Maynard Keynes. Okay, as I told you, here both the private sectors and the government sectors are going to operate together. So market is basically allowed to operate freely, and whenever there is an issue, the government is going to come and fix it. So the government is going to basically decide what type of resources have to be allocated to which particular sector, and what should be the amount of reservation that can be granted to the privates to operate in any particular sector. So all these type of decisions will be taken by the government. Say for example, the government will take care of producing basic minimum needs that are there for the people so as to fulfill the socio-economic goals, and the privates will be allowed to operate in the other sectors, right? So we will come back to this again when we do this LPG in detail. Liberalization, privatization, globalization in detail, and we will also see some of the economic policies post independence, right? So in mixed economic model, the government is basically trying to take care of the basic needs of the people and also regulate the market, regulate the prices in such a way that goods and services are affordable to all sections of the population. So now, after having discussed about all these three economic systems in place, it's time for us to look at the examples where this color, green color, indicates a free market economy, and this orange and the yellow is somewhat indicating a mixed economic model, and the darker it is more of a command economic model. And one of the important examples that I can give you for command economy is North Korea. You know about Kim Jong-un, right? So he is actually having a dictatorship model there. He is the one who's going to ultimately decide what type of resources have to be allocated to which particular sector, right? So since the resources are scarce in North Korea, he wants it to be utilized for the development of its military strength, so has to remain powerful, and that makes the people to starve of the basic resources. So again, it is the economic decision being taken by him. So again, a command economic model. So if you see, these are the countries which follow the economy model, command economy model, and the pure market economy model. So there is no country, okay, lying on the two extremes. So all we have is a mixed economy model, slightly leaning towards command economy and slightly leaning towards pure, a free market economy, right? So we have North Korea, China leaning towards a command model. We have Sweden, France, Japan, USA leading towards, market economic model. And this socialism and capitalism is nothing but again the same type of economic system, but this is something which we name in reference to the political system. So we say socialism is a political system in which the command economy is going to be there in place, right? We say capitalism is again a political system, okay, in which the market is going to have the upper hand. Okay, so that's it for today. And thank you so much for watching. If you have not watched the previous series of economy, please do go and watch. And in the next video, we will discuss some other new topic. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more updates. If you have not subscribed to UPSC Warriors channel, please subscribe. Thank you.